ready today. We have 3 speeches. Linda, who continues to be interested in Toastmasters, continues to cover for someone for a vacancy, and Wolf Point even gave us table topics for today. So I'm looking forward to a good meeting. There was something that Tom said reminded me of where we've come from. And Bob Pronge, some of you may know, sent a picture of the original Toastmaster members and the original charter for the club. We've got so much going today, I don't think time permits me to tell you who they all are, but I'm going to give these to Donna and let her work them into her duties in a future meeting, knowing that they may need to go back to Bob. I'm not sure when you send them to Peggy whether it's to keep them forever or not. So in order of their volunteering, we'll go ahead with Lacey and then David, and then we'll end up with Jim's speech. And I don't have the times, but I think they're all from the first book, so it should be 5 to 7 minutes, Alan. No one's asked for anything different. So without further ado, I am really looking forward to Lacey's icebreaker, not just because she's Lacey, but because of the introduction that she wrote for us. Her title is The Many Faces of Lacey McCulloch. Now that's okay, but wait till you hear the description. Her speech is about how her biological name and nicknames have influenced and shaped the person she is today. So now that she has your attention, won't you go ahead and welcome Lacey to her first official Toastmasters speech.
Lacey, aka Lace, aka Annie. Lacey, my professional name, the name on my birth certificate, the name that I go by at work, in the public, and here are Toastmasters meetings. Lacey, the informal shortened version of Lacey, the name that my mom and siblings call me to communicate with me. Many heartfelt, goofy, wanted, and sometimes unwanted conversations have started in my house with Lace and Annie, the nickname that my best friend gave me in my junior year of high school. I like to think of Annie as my quirkier, wild, fly-off-the-handle second person that I sometimes behave like. No, I'm not 3 different people, but I do have many characteristics and influences that make up the girl, as most of you know, as Lacey McCulloch. When I say that Lacey is my professional name, I mean that I associate that name with my successes in life. As far back as I can remember, my parents have been very future-oriented. I've always had the dreams of what I want to be when I grow up, like many children do. But I think I started to plan my future hardcore in the 6th grade. My parents made it clear that, Lacey, you're in middle school now. You're in 6th grade. You got to start focusing on getting your grades, your extracurricular activities, which I did a lot, from sign language club to game board club, which probably didn't make a big impact, but to journalism club. I'm a very big visual person, so when I was younger, I thought, what better way to plan my future than to make a timeline? So that's what I did. I got my poster board out, my favorite little colored gel pens, and I even got my highlighter. And there I sat at my desk, and I planned out the next year, the next 5, the next 10, 20, and so on. So what did I think would happen with my life? Well, of course, I would finish middle school, high school, and graduate with straight A's every semester. Then I would go to college and become a psychologist or a social worker, and then have a family with children by the age of 30. Well, obviously, I'm not fully grown up yet. I still have a lot of it to do. I mean, do we ever really stop growing and learning? I don't know. But I think I've learned a little bit since in my lifespan. life isn't defined by what I wrote down on a piece of paper in the 6th grade. However, it's defined by how I handle the challenges that life throws my way. And also by taking the chances that I know will make me happy, and how I can define my own definition of personal success. I always knew that I would end up in a field that would allow me to help others. I love being a victim's advocate and SART coordinator with the Dawson County Domestic Violence Program. I love that our program offers a safe place for victims to come where they will not be judged for what they do or told what to do. However, as an advocate, I offer them the resources that they may find helpful to take back control of their own life, so they can live a life of safety and empowerment and peace without fear of what will happen tomorrow. So, Lace. It may just seem like an easier way to say Lacey. Let's just drop the Y, right? Well, I don't see it as just a name. To me, it holds a value. To me, I hear my mother's caring voice when she wants to have a heart-to-heart, or I hear my little brother and sister when they want to play with me when we were younger. I feel like when you are completely whole and complete with somebody, then you don't need to speak so formally with them. I mean, everybody in my family has their name shortened. My mom's kids are all Lace, Ty, and Cole, instead of Lacey, Tyler, and Cole. As a family, we share the connection where we can be free and comfortable together. And through my nickname, Amy, I see someone who has completely learned the true meaning of friendship. There is truly no greater feeling than being able to let go of all your inhibitions and insecurities and be absolutely silly and vulnerable with somebody, all at the same time. I will always thank my best friend Amanda for allowing me to let loose, be myself, and be honest with her, and even embarrass her a little bit sometimes. So far, I haven't really done anything that's been sporadically that she's disowned me for, so I think together we grow as one person. We learn from each other's mistakes, experiences, and advice, and through those life events and those shared words, we grow our relationship, and we grow our relationships with others as well. You know, they say you only meet your once-in-a-lifetime friend once in a lifetime, and I'd have to say that statement is 100% accurate. When you search for the definition of my name, you're probably not going to see one thing that I've said here previously today. But isn't that the beauty of being individuals? To have the power and drive to create our own special identities? Some people say that many individuals were destined to have a given birth name. And maybe the key to owning that and who you are is to create your own personal version of that name.
Well done, thank you. Our next speech is about all of us. As David Garfield comes and talks about how people in small towns are natural historians. So his underlying theme is you know more than you think. David, come.
Consider just your day-to-day. Never said to yourself, this is how the world works. Mr. Toastmaster, Madam President, everyone in Glendive, Montana, you have a very good idea of how the world works. I'll submit to you that understanding a pretty complicated time in history should come naturally to you. This particular complicated time involves understanding how the U.S. almost went to war with Germany over Venezuela in the early 1900s. One of the most interesting stories that isn't told that often. Now, this did not happen. If it had happened, your high school history book would have pictures of U.S. cities on the Gulf and Atlantic coast being attacked by Germany and in flames. But once again, it did not happen, and the most interesting story is how we got there. Now we rewind to the early 1900s, and the world was just like a small town. Everybody knew everybody because there just weren't that many people to know. The most influential countries you could count on your fingers: US, Great Britain, Germany, France, Russia, Japan, and some characters named Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire who are no longer with us. And back then, the talk of the world was just like the talk of the town. People's money problems. First, you all probably know when lending money is not a problem. If you bought a house, you probably took out a loan from a bank. It wasn't a big deal. The bank is quite a bit better off than you. They just want your business. They don't want something you actually have. That wasn't a problem. Lending money can be a problem, and you've probably heard this before too. Has someone ever said to you, I would not accept a favor from those people. Don't take anything from them. And it was probably good advice. First off, you know that you might have something they want. And second, they probably aren't as well off or even as secure as you might think. And thinking globally, debt and insecurity are what wars are made of. First, the debt. Great Britain and Germany made a huge loan to Venezuela. Venezuela was a very risky investment and was indeed on the road to defaulting on that loan. This loan was very, very big. If Venezuela had defaulted on this loan, Great Britain, and especially Germany, might have moved to repossess the entire nation of Venezuela. Or proposed a very self-serving solution like the lion's share of revenue from Venezuela's ports would go back to Great Britain and Germany. You can call this predatory lending on a global scale, and either way it would have put Great Britain and Germany completely in control of Venezuela. The US would not have tolerated this and would have gone to work to protect its own interests in South America. That was the debt. There's also insecurity too. Why did Britain and Germany bother in the first place to make such a risky loan to a country like Venezuela? And it seems really odd that they'd be insecure at all, considering Britain, well, controlled most of the world. The sun never set on the British Empire. It was said, and it was true, they had colonies all over the world. Germany had a scattering of colonies as well. Both actually had very little money in spite of all that. And you all know people who are in this very situation. They have lots of assets, especially land, but not a lot of cash. And what money they do have tends to come in very slowly or very intermittently over time. You know these people because you know farmers and ranchers. The classic example of someone who's asset rich and cash poor. They might have millions of dollars worth of land and equipment, but you never call them millionaires. And so it was with Britain and Germany. Both controlled a lot of land, but both governments were also going into debt. They had land and commitments all over the world that cost money to maintain. And they were also spending in a big way on things like war. Britain was recovering from a very costly war with its colonies in South Africa. Germany was preparing for war. The German army, and especially the Navy, had grown in a big way. Grown a big way with lots of huge, very expensive battleships. But Germany's insecurity went quite a bit deeper than its bank account, though. It went all the way to the top, to its emperor, Kaiser Wilhelm II. Now, think about if your mayor or sheriff or some leader like that was very thin-skinned, really prone to overreact, and also very likely mentally unstable. Would it color the town in a few ways? Would people act differently? Would a lot of people burn a lot of energy trying to find any way to work around this guy? And would they take that well? Would people also People also cut that guy down every chance they got. Kaiser Wilhelm was also known for having big hips. One very cheap way to cut the guy down, and everybody did it anyway. Works in a small town, and it works for nations as well. And Theodore Roosevelt noticed this kind of town-wide, nationwide insecurity when he visited Germany following his presidency, and he described it well. He called it Germany's national neurosis. A country that is thoroughly modern, only growing, only achieving new heights, and only becoming more and more insecure along the way. The country's leader had colored the country's mood. And more brick in the wall toward insecure, indebted nations making risky decisions. This was how the U.S. almost went to war with Germany in the early 1900s. And for me now, I'll continue to pay my student loans. I'll start there. If no one, since no one here is currently paying out my student loans, I'd accept cash or check. But in closing, thank you all, and take in what's going on any which way you can. Based on your own life experience, you probably have a better idea of how things are going on and the way things work than you might give yourself credit for. Thank you all.
It always ceases to amaze me what things we learn at Toastmasters about people, about life, about each other. Jim Squires is going to come and help us with our move to the new location and how we handle our stuff. Jim purchased a Rubbermaid cart and has made some special modifications to it. It's kind of like Herbie and the Love Bug, you know. I mean, it's on that dimension, that order of change. So now, Jim's going to consider what should be on the cart. He'll be asking for our input, what's needed for regular meetings, executive meetings, speech contests, and special events. But as you grasp this problem, remember, space is limited. Space is limited. So priorities must be considered, and Jim's looking for your input, your experience, your creativity. And oh, by the way, in addition to all of this, Jim is videotaping today's meeting and using the debut software thanks to a suggestion from David. So these recordings are available to all presenters at a minimal cost. I'm curious what that minimal cost is, but I know it's minimal. So nevertheless, please help me welcome Jim, getting comfortable with visual aids, Project 8 in the Competent Communication Manual, equipping the cards.
Fellow Toastmasters, this is really a big deal, this transition from one place to another. We've been over at the Coffee Den for 10 years. Thanks to Ellen for getting that thank you into the paper. But when I thought about this, I says, now how are we going to do this? Having the experience of an area governor at 2 different locations, I watched Miles City with a cart about a third of this size that handles their lectern and 1 box. That's it. They have to cram everything into an area this big. Well, that didn't look like it worked very well to me, and I watched them do it for the 2 years I was area governor previously, and then again this last year. So 3 years as area governor, I've witnessed that event. I have witnessed the Williston Club in the last year bring everything to the individual meetings. Unload them from the trunk of a car and bring them into the Hardy store in Williston at 6 o'clock in the morning, our time, 7 o'clock their time. And I thought, you know, There's got to be a better way. And here's what I came up with. This particular cart, as was mentioned, is a Rubbermaid. And you can see I put pegboard here. That pegboard is covered so it accommodates this type of a thing where you can slide in and keep the advancement records, not only the CC records, but the advanced communicator records. But I've come up with this notion that when we have a word of the day, we can stand it here on these extensions. So those cards will stand up there. You don't have a card, we can fold it in half and at least put it there. Then I added a couple things here. I don't think these are the right ones. In the event that we end up with something to stand up, this lectern isn't heavy enough. The other one is. So this may or may not stay as part of this, but at least we have a pegboard and we can accommodate it. Those are the modifications. Now, let's get down to business. And I've already caught myself. Bear with me while I adjust to an entirely new situation for me and you as well. Now we're going to find out whether or not this fits. And it does. Somewhere on the table, Alan, in that corner, in that top case, click open that thing if you can, and there's a whole bunch of markers in there. In fact, there's Raven here. Donna, there's one right in front of you on the table. That'll work. Thank you. So much for the scout thing of being prepared. The question is, what are the essential and the optional things that we need on this cart? And you're all going to participate because I'm going to go right around and probably start on this side and end up with Lacey, who she and David are our newest members, and Rochelle. What do you see as essential on this cart? Pete.
So I'll go with the lectern. That'll be my choice.
Absolutely essential. Mark, what would you see as essential on this cart besides the lectern?
Something that means a lot to me is the word of the day.
Okay.
And those things that you took down, if they could be flipped up, I would sure hate to see your pegboard disappear. But I know that you caught your leg on that. That's no fun at all.
Well, we're learning.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm moving on. David,
Yeah, okay.
what would you see as essential on the cart?
A spare manual.
The what manual?
A spare manual.
Oh, okay.
CC manual.
Spare manuals, I'm just going to put down. Spare manuals. And those would include the CC, advanced manuals, whatever we have, and particularly the CL manual, all three of those. So I'm just going to make it CC, CL, advanced.
I think it's essential that it's big enough to hold everything, like the flag for
Flag. And would you include these vision and mission statements? Anything else is essential, Alan?
I think the fact that those advanced communicator and advanced leadership charts, I think that's very important for us as a club to know where we're all sitting as far as on our advanced manuals and also competent communicator manuals, and helps us to realize where we're at and where we need to go.
Rochelle, what would you think is essential on this cart?
The timing equipment.
Timing equipment, okay. Virginia.
The box that has the pins and the ribbons in.
Pins, ribbons. All of those things necessary that for a meeting to be held. Lacey, to you, what do you think should belong on this thing? Absolutely essentially be here.
Maybe like a spot for like a cup of water or something for each person. Because mine wants
Can I say spare space? Okay, I'm out of time already, but optional items it might be. Now let's go back the other way around. Lacey, can you think of anything that might be an optional item here? To carry on the cart. Let's go freelance on this one because time is limited. Anyone, what optional items might there be?
Extra pens and notepads.
Okay.
Because I forget them all the time.
Did we decide maybe the pegboard things that caught your leg, is that an option, folks? Which is nice, they come out, so it's an option, we can have them out or take them off if needed to.
They come off pretty readily. So, anything else?
Well, yeah, I was gonna mention something that, this seems a little different, but, well, actually, perhaps, some literature like, well, like say a dictionary, you know.
Oh, dictionary.
Like a dictionary, you know, to help with the word of the day or something like that.
Under essential, we forgot our guest book.
Oh, yes.
I would like to mention something else. Now, some of this material, of course, is fairly expensive. Now, I bought a dictionary for about $26.27. The 11th edition of Merriam-Webster, the index thing. I got it from Boss Office Products, or Boss Office Products. Now, the point I wanted to comment on is that, you know, you've got this beautiful, beautiful rolling cart, you know, with all the space and everything. And I was just going to say, somebody was telling me that over there up there at the hospital, at the Carney conference room, they're going to provide a space for us to put the cart and lock it up.
That's correct.
So the point I'm trying to make is, some of that material that's quite expensive, like the dictionary, will be perfectly safe, you know.
Okay.
It'll be perfectly safe while we're not there.
Hey, we also forgot under essential our club banner.
Oh.
Say one more thing too. That little flag, it's a musical flag too. That I donated that behind you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Did we have it listed? Yeah, Michael did here.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. Anything else? Because I'm out of time. I appreciate your feedback. This is just a beginning list, but it challenges you, but it's also part of a uniquely some kind of an officer's training thing that we can review and pick up. You know, is it? And as time comes, and we need to add more things or take away things, or adjust so that this thing will actually accommodate things readily without just put it on and roll it up to the elevator, go upstairs and down the hall, and leave it in your closet. Thank you for your input, and that concludes my remarks.
is speechathon. I'm going to let you do that. I don't know how to drive that yet, folks. That'll have to be part of officers training. 101 is we come out of this part of the meeting as speech chairman. It was up to me to locate some table topics in case we did not fill the meeting with speeches. And I mentioned that to Linda Salinas, and she said, guess what I've got? She's got like 1,200 table topics. So I've encouraged her, if she runs across another set, to donate one to the Virginia. So let's go for at least a minute, no more than 2.
What would you love to find at a yard sale? Right now, I would not want to even go to a yard sale. But I know I did go to a yard sale, and one thing I got, I think it's when Ellen had a yard sale, I bought a couple of chairs, which were very nice, those recliners. Very nice, and I still have those at home, and I really appreciate them very much. So that's one thing that I found at a yard sale that I appreciated very much and bought. Took them home with me.
Thank you. So I believe your implication is you probably have enough stuff. Rochelle? I'm dealing right off the top of the deck. No dealing from the bottom of the deck here.
Would you rather be a great musician, artist, or athlete? Well, gosh, I would like to be good at any of those 3 things. I'm not. I'm probably about average at 2 of the things. But if I had to choose one, I would rather be a great musician. I think last week or the week before I talked about how I'm practicing guitar right now and trying to learn, and I'm getting frustrated. Sometimes I feel like I've practiced enough that I should be, an excellent guitar player by now, but then other days I know that I'm not practicing enough and I'm right where I am because I don't take the time to sit down and practice as much as I should be. So that is one of my goals, to set aside at least 15 to 20 minutes a day, every day, to practice, so that maybe someday I will be a great musician.
Alan for me. Thank you.
Which one is it? That one?
Fellow Toastmasters, what makes you laugh the hardest? Some people may, I've got a weird sense of humor. Let's just start out that way. And I remember I was watching, I believe it was, what was the name of it? Oh, The Hang. And there were some pretty nasty situations there. But the crux of the whole movie was that a fella who was going to get married went down to Vegas with some of his friends, and the friends wind up losing the guy who was going to get married. They don't know where he's at. And through all their mishaps and it just such an improbable thing that could happen. The groom was wound up being on top of a roof in Las Vegas in the heat of the day. They wound up finding him, and everything turned out all right. But some of the things that were so funny, one of the partiers lost one of his teeth, the top one of his front tooth, and at the end of the movie, they showed excerpts of people taking pictures, and some of that was not very wholesome, but it was this funny stuff, and it's weird stuff, but it makes me laugh the hardest. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabletop Master Pete. What is my favorite book and movie? Well, the favorite book that I read was 2 years ago. It hasn't been made into a movie, but if it was made into a movie, I would definitely go see it. And the name, I don't remember the name of the author. I usually just pick whatever the library has sitting out. I figure that's a good way to pick one, and then if I like the author, I'll go back and read some of the other ones. But this one was a lady, and she doesn't normally write funny stories, but this one I giggled through the whole book. And she grew up in the 80s, and so I could relate to everything she was saying, from the movies to the music to the clothes. And her husband had just bought a house that they're remodeling, and it was one problem after another. So I could definitely relate to that, and just the things she would say, and I'd be reading the book and just start giggling, and Darren's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'd have to repeat what I just read. It was just a fun book. So I hope it does come out in a movie.
Jeff, Mark, would you like to do a table topic?
Yeah, that's
There
fine.
you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I brought a small scoop with me too.
Go ahead with your table topic. Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do some speaking with some. Oh my goodness. It says, what are the redeeming qualities of the person you most dislike? Excuse me for interrupting. Pete, may I ask, can you tell me that, what is that word, redeeming?
Sure. What's positive qualities? What are some of the things that make that person a worthwhile individual, even though you dislike them most?
What are the redeeming qualities of the person you most dislike?
So positive. You can substitute the word positive for redeeming.
Oh, what are the positive qualities of the person you most dislike? Boy, that is, that's really a mind twister in ways for a person like myself, because I am a little delusional, and it's been a problem of mine for years. And actually, if I could speak if I could answer this question as I would have answered it years ago, I would have told you about the redeeming qualities of people that were quite knowledgeable, people that had college degrees, people, that were superior to my knowledge. And not only their knowledge being positive qualities, but also their ability to, act out these qualities. To me, it's kind of a loaded question, and I hope I'm getting through to my audience here. But like I say, any positive qualities, I shouldn't go on. In the Bible, Jesus talks about loving your enemies and building them up, and so on and so on and so on, converting a lot of emotion there, and of course. But the redeeming qualities, the word qualities such as positive mental state, so on. So, well, that's about the best I can do.
Good job. Thank you very much. I guess the downside of these 1,200 some questions is my daughter wants them back to torture her family with at family dinner. So please send them. I didn't collect yours yet. Please send them back to me. So I'm going to return to my role as Toastmaster, having gone ahead and fulfilled my role as speechathon leader, and go ahead and ask you please to send ballots, since we have 3 book speeches, to Virginia for best speech, best table topic, and also best evaluator. And so then I will go ahead and ask for the evaluations in the order in which the speeches were given. So Lacey's evaluator, I believe, is Virginia, and so she can get that job out of the way before she starts counting ballots.
You think I should? Okay. Lacey's speech was The Many Faces of Lacey, you know that one? And it says, what strong points does the speaker already have? Lacey, you used your, tell us about your name, Lacey, your nickname Annie, and she loves her name that was given to her by your parents. And how well did the audience get to know the speaker? I think, well, while in the middle school, 6th grade, she planned what she wanted to do in her life, and I think that came through to all of us here. And she wanted to live a very positive life. And what did the speaker talk clearly? Or did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? I believe he did very much so. Did the speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? I thought it flowed very well from when you first mentioned your name and went all the way through to the end. Comment on the speaker's use of notes. She read her notes, but she also looked up quite often while she was when she was sharing with us. What could she have done differently? Well, that would have improved the speech. She said, we want to create our personal version of your name. That would be one thing. And what did you like about her presentation? I liked about her presentation, her name was always important to her all her life so far.
Thank you very much. And I wonder, Donna, did you do David's evaluation? Are you ready to get that?
Yep. Thank you, Toastmaster Pete. And thank you, David, for a great speech. I always enjoy listening to you. You're so insightful, and I liked the fact that what a great topic. And the story, not rarely told, and about the war that didn't happen with Venezuela, and I thought that was very interesting. I liked all the quotes, and I don't know if they were officially quotes, but the sayings, don't take anything from them. I think when you said those, we could all visualize, oh yeah, we know that. And wars are created from debt and insecurity. That's true, you think about it, and that's what most problems are from. The sun never sets on Britain, and you use that because Britain had so many different colonies and countries and owned those where Germany didn't. And the other one that you used was asset rich and cash poor. That definitely explains farmers, ranchers. They have lots of land, but they have to wait for their crops to come in. Body language, you have great body language. You stepped away from the podium, which is great. It shows that you are comfortable. You don't have to be tied to the lectern. And you counted the countries. There used to be, basically 5 countries. You counted those. You always have great eye contact and a nice smile. I like that. And your facial expressions, they fit what you were describing in your speech, so that's great. Your organization was wonderful. Everything flowed. I liked that you encouraged us to pay attention to what is going on in the world, because we do know more than we give ourselves credit from. What could you have done differently to make the speech more effective? When you joked about paying off your student loans, I think that kind of got lost on us. But what I liked best about the presentation was definitely your quotes, and that we could visualize those meetings, and I liked learning something new and something different from you. So, thank you, David.
Very much. And last but not least, Rochelle on Jim's speech.
I checked all of these excellent. Were the visual aids appropriate for the speech and message? They were excellent in how you pointed out different things on the cart and how the chart will work on the cart and shows the pegboards. The visual aid did help us understand and remember your points. Your visual aids were all very clear. You could see everything, and I liked how you took the lectern down and put the chart up there so that we could see it better. And the speaker used the visual aid smoothly and with confidence. I think you did a very good job. We all know what the cart is for now and what a great thing it's going to be for us to use and not have to pack everything and unpack everything and every time we have a meeting. The only thing I would say that you could have done differently was just like have your markers up there with you and just be a little bit more prepared. And then watch your time, of course, a little bit. But I know it's hard when everybody's participating in your speech to keep track of your time. But I liked best about your speeches. It was very informative, and thank you very much for all the work you put into the cart.
If I could have the timers recorded as soon as that's ready, and then I'll ask for the WAG's report following.
I am ready with that. Thank you, Toastmaster Pete, fellow Toastmasters. We had 3 speeches today. Lacey's speech was 5 minutes 47 seconds, and Jim, I'll give you his sheet. Dave's speech was 7 minutes 46 seconds, and Jim's was 11 minutes 7 seconds. But like Rochelle said, we had a lot of participation, a lot of good ideas, and so that going over is understandable with that speech. Table topics, Virginia was 42 seconds, Rochelle was 48 seconds, I was 1 minute and 46 seconds, Donna was 1 minute 5 seconds, and Mark was 2 minutes and 4 seconds on that. The evaluators, Virginia was 1 minute and 37 seconds, Donna was 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and Rochelle's was 1 minute and 16 seconds. That's it for the panel reports.
Thank you for your good report. Rochelle, if you tell us what you noticed in your role as WAG.
Today I noticed there were quite a few fillers and repeats. I know myself when I was giving Jim's evaluation, I believe I said but, and at least once or twice. And I always catch it right after I say it. Donna had a few ands, okays, Jim had a few of the same. It was actually very few this time. Lacey, I just wanted to say, I think you did a really great job on your first speech. I think that you said twice. But it was in the context of the speech, so it didn't really take away from what you were saying at all. So great job, everyone.
Thank you. Indeed, stepping into the role of general evaluator for this special meeting, I would point out you guys handled this meeting wonderfully. You were accommodating, you were mostly on time, and when you weren't on time, as David ran out of time, he still wrapped up quite well. And Jim, instead of just going over, commented a couple of times about working with time to allow us to help him finish up without running further over. So I am just very well pleased with how this meeting has gone. And so I'm going to turn control back over to Donna to announce the winners and hand out the prizes as she gets that information from our Sergeant of Arms, Virginia.
Thank you, Pete.
Virginia, who do we have for best speaker?
Lacey.
Yay.
Good job. And best evaluator?
Donna.
Best table topics?
Rochelle.
All right.
And Rochelle was telling us about guitar. I don't think you were here one time, Alan. He did a speech on his guitar.
Yeah.
Talk about maybe sometimes you two will get together and have a jam session. Well, we did our speech. Lacey did a great job for introduction. I liked that. That was very good. And if anybody has their books that they'd like to send to Pete, I'm sure he would love to initial them at the back. Anytime you have a job, he would be always willing to mark those. And then we have the chart that we can always mark on there also, because that is a nice chart. And as Alan said, it reminds us where we need to be, and it can also help us to encourage someone else to get going. Feel free to kick me in the butt to get going on that too, because I know I need to. Thank you, Pete, for letting us be here. This was nice. We will have our officers meeting next week at the Kearney Conference Center, and then in 2 weeks we will all meet at the Kearney Conference Center. So that will be something new, but we'll get used to it and we'll enjoy it, and we'll hopefully get more members.
So, the first week of the month is, the first Thursday is officer meeting.
Yep. So then we'll be back to just our 2 meetings, the 2nd and the 4th, and then if we occasionally have a 5th Thursday in there. And did we enjoy the 5th Thursdays at noon? I liked that. It worked better for me than in the evenings, but we can always either continue or
Well,
change
you
it.
said the 5th.
5th Thursday? That's today's the 5th
Today's,
Thursday.
yeah.
Well, okay.
So we'll just
I
continue
guess
on.
I was thinking you said the 3rd. The 3rd, 5th. Yeah, because I was trying to correct you, I guess, but you were right.
Oh, nice. That's nice to hear.
So, you're clear.
Well, good. Sounds good. So we will call this a meeting, and then we'll see everybody at the Kearney Conference Center in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's just a little, the only thing I forgot to put on there were the evaluators. Yeah, all the 3 things.
There's a page.
I made those in about 4 minutes.
Place for me to initial.
Good job on the
I'm
part,
not
Jim.
here, Jim will do that.
I think it's gonna work
I
for
think
us.
so. And thank you for loading everything up.
Well, I'm gonna get,
Say, can you
twist somebody's
talk
arm to help me get it down the steps, and then I can pack it
Well,
out.
maybe I better take.
But I know Peggy helped me get it up,
Yeah, yeah.
that was a chore.
Oh, I'm sure.
Let's see, we closed at 12:56.
Next week, where exactly are we?
We're downstairs, Kearney Conference Room, and we can either meet over in the cafe or in that, one of those rooms.
Right.
So,
I guess you need to have a central place for us to meet.
Sure.
we actually are scheduled for one of the Kearney Conference
If you're coming
rooms.
with your team,
those 3 rooms that get divided off. We are scheduled for those on the 1st,
Okay. All right.
2nd, and
You're
4th.
welcome.
We'll just meet down there.
Down in Kearney Conference Room.
Say, Dave?
Okay.
If you wanna grab lunch, you can grab it in the cafeteria, if not, do whatever works for
Dave,
you.
I'm Mark Nelson. I'm glad to meet you. I wanted to comment on your speech. The way you adjusted from one war, the way you adjusted from the description of one war to the next war, and back and forth to these different engagements, you did a really good job of that. Oh yes, that was very professional. I'm not trying to build you up too high
They're the
here
only
either.
2 I know out of the whole club. I've seen him.
That's George's character.
Well, I believe
Oh,
a
yes.
Names
person
are on the
should
back.
give
George was
credit
part of the
where
club when I
credit is due.
joined. There's Bruce
Yeah,
Russell,
so-
you see him?
But there's a lot of educated,
But the names are all on the
wealthy
back.
people.
Oh,
And man, you're really
George
fit in
Al
good.
Hall,
So,
Cal McCray.
Yeah, sure.
Jerry Westwood, Mary.
Part of our desire is we wanna make people less self-conscious and feel more confident.
I know 3 of the lot.
Yeah.
Speaking.
I
That's
know,
ironic.
I know almost
Okay,
all of
that's
them.
hip.
Okay,
Yeah,
But you were around longer
but I
than
was,
I.
yeah, I was part of that club.
Say what?
About a month.
Yeah.
Is that right?
One of the things I noticed immediately was, and I got
Well,
called on
anyway.
this, that club was very much dressed for success. It was business clothes.
I came, yeah, am I keeping you